G'day, boys. Welcome back for another episode. What's going on?
Yes, welcome. Very excited. Us three back here again.
Yeah.
It's good to have racing back.
How good's this?
We're back, baby.
We've had one race down, Superbikes, F1, MotoGP week, another F1.
Well, yeah, it's all happening. It's crept up really quickly, eh?
I can't believe it. You know what the thing is like we thought it wasn't going to be that busy over the summer for us. We've never been busier.
Yeah, it was
fucked.
full on. It was full on. Now we can relax. The racing's back.
Yeah, that's right. And we have some
How much better is the weekend though?
Oh, so much better.
And I really enjoy the Saturday night race, getting up Sunday morning and watching it. So those races that are in the middle of the night for the Aussies are really, it works really well.
Yeah.
Thanks to
on a
Ramadan.
Saturday night for sure.
Yeah.
And it's good as well. We've got some guests coming out over the few weeks and months, I guess, as well. So look out for all that. So
yeah, so every week we don't have any MotoGP or F1 on. We're going to release a special guest pod. I think that's what we
Pretty much,
spoke
yeah.
pretty
about.
much, yeah.
Yeah, so
We've got
super
4 lined up, I think.
super excited.
So it's gonna be good.
So what'd you boys think of the race?
Same old at the same time, but like you just gotta respect it. You gotta respect how good he is, and all I see on the internet is people saying how boring it is and how annoying it is winning and how different it is, like how when Lewis Hamilton won or Michael Schumacher won. I think people forget it's all the same. This is how Formula One works. There's a team that dominates, there's a driver that dominates, they'll dominate for a period of time, then there's normally a rule change or something like that, and then someone else will dominate. Another young kid will come through. So I don't know why everyone's kind of complaining, because this is Formula One. This is what happens. You know, you look back to the late 80s of Senna or the Michael Schumacher days or the Vettel days or the Hamilton days. Has there been someone that's maybe dominated to this extent so far? Maybe not, but like this is just how it is. This is what the sport is, and you got to at least appreciate what they're doing. You can't hate on that.
Yeah, that's right. You'll appreciate it once it's gone. Yeah, sort of like you and Lorenzo, just to change sports for 100%. A bit. But
it's very true.
Same thing.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we could go back to those years with Senna and Prost. I mean, they in that McLaren, they lapped the whole field most races, but they had that teammate battle.
And they won every race bar one, and that was Ferrari that won it, just like last year, Red Bull. So
I think that's because they took each other out in Japan.
Yeah. Oh, that's Suzuka? Yeah, there you go.
So look, you got to appreciate it. He is so consistent, and those figures that came out of his first sector, he was not 1/10, 1/1000th of a tenth or whatever it was, within in that first sector for the 10 laps in a row. Like the consistency,
yeah, he's just dialed in.
Is just unbelievable. And yeah, I mean, I probably enjoy the race more than some others. Looking online, I was saying to you boys before the pod that I enjoy the battle for second. I mean, we saw Russell up there. We had some, we'll get onto this later, but we had some tyre issue and some engine issues. And then we had also some brake issues with Leclerc. So you got to add all those factors into it. There was a 22-second lead. Yes. Perez had to come from 5th or 4th to get up to that second. So there's always going to be tyres. There's always going to be on the back foot. So things could be different at the start. But, you know, Max having a bad start, going back to 3rd or 4th, it could have been a different race. So he,
yeah, fair.
But you just don't know. There's a lot of determining factors.
I think it's going to shape up to be a little bit closer than last year anyway, judging from, especially that midfield battle. There was some really good battles going on through there. So it's going to be an interesting one, definitely. And some of the tracks will spice it up for sure.
Yeah, maybe the straight circuits as well, normally.
Yep.
But I still think it's going to be much of the same. Just the midfield battle or battle for seconds is going to be tighter. You know, but I still stick by Max and Perez.
We'll see. I think, and I've been on this all year, I think Mercedes are better than we all think. So we will see. Time will tell on that, because Russell looked good. Russell passed Leclerc on I think it was the 9th or 10th lap, took 2nd place, and then had some overheating issues with the engine and battery. And it sounded like Hamilton had some issues with the battery as well, overusing the battery. So we'll see. It's always hard with the first race.
You still figuring things out.
There's teething problems. It's a different style of track. That surface, I don't know if you guys know, that surface in Bahrain is like the roughest surface on the calendar.
Oh, okay.
So when they made that tarmac 20 years ago, it was the 20th anniversary of the race, they made it that it was stones, but they didn't fill in a lot of it, so the sand could actually fall through the tarmac because it's in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
So it's a very rough, abrasive surface. And looking at Max and Perez's strategy going soft, hard, soft, it shows how good they are on their tires.
Yeah.
Because all the rest of the field went soft, hard, hard. Now they were forced to do that because they had to use an extra set of soft tires in qualifying. So that's the advantage of having the pace. That's the advantage of having that more comfortableness in qualifying as well. So they had the better tire for that last stint.
Yeah.
And that's what helped, obviously, Perez fighting off Sainz and then Verstappen with his massive lead as well.
That's really good. That's a cool fact.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, back 20 years ago, they had that race in 43-degree heat.
Everyone was overheating, weren't they?
Famous scenes. Yeah, famous scenes. And it was like Qatar last year at the end of the race when they finished and they were just spent.
Gassed,
I
yeah.
love seeing that because you get it these days. You get out of the car and their
they're
hair's
cool.
still looking good, and I'm like, what's going on? These things are supposed to be the hardest cars in the world to drive, and they look like they could bloody sip a cup of tea while doing it.
Yeah, so this is real sweat. Athletes sweat.
I know that.
Yeah.
But I mean, in other news as well, did you guys see Yuki Tsunoda after the race?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was so stupid.
So look, the whole situation was stupid. I mean, we're obviously going to be on Ricciardo fans, but I don't know why. I don't know why they would have swapped those cars over. First of all, I mean, I understand Ricciardo was on the softer tire, and I might get some hate from this, but Yuki was within a tenth of the car in front. I mean, you can't do a swap.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, even if you do that spot, then you have to swap back at the end of the race, which didn't happen. So, Yuki, super immature. We all obviously have our thoughts on him that this could be his last year, but harsh done by as well, I reckon.
Still a stupid move though. At the end of the race, like the race is done.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
And I suppose it's not Danny Rick's fault either. He's not the one calling the shots.
Yeah.
You can understand there's got to be a little bit of tension.
Oh
there.
yeah, 100%.
And there always is because they're all competitors.
Yeah.
And maybe Tsunoda's feeling the pinch because he might know it's his last season to prove himself, and if he just finishes 14th, whatever, he finished every race. And
I swear he
he's gonna
doesn't
get
care though.
booted.
Just there's no care factor.
Yeah, it's very unlike the Japanese though. Normally,
In the few seasons ago on that Drive to Survive, they had him as a special, and he was like, I'm just trying to save up money so I can open a restaurant.
Yeah, open a
you're
sushi
saying
restaurant.
Yeah, I was like, what? I don't want to hear that. I want to see like fucking the eyes and like, come on, I'm so competitive. Like,
yeah. Like Michael Jordan, I took it personally.
Yeah, legit.
yeah, creating enemies in your head.
Yeah. So Carlos Sainz got driver of the day. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, he did. He had a really good race. Really, really good
Yeah, I
race.
thought he raced really, really well.
Yeah. I thought, correct me if wrong, Lance Stroll did pretty good after he got spun out from the start.
came
And I
back up
think
to
he,
P10.
yeah, P10, and he really was P9 at the swap with Alonso.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really underrated drive that comes through the field like that.
Great call, and probably was mentioned on the coverage, but wasn't mentioned enough. Definitely, I think a really good race. I think Lando Norris had a good race as well. The McLarens look fairly good. Like that battle for second is just going to be so exciting this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Mercedes,
good.
McLaren, Aston Martin to a certain extent, and then Ferrari as well. I mean, it's super exciting. They're all within, a couple of tenths. So, but yeah, some other notable facts throughout the race was Alpine. Look,
Yeah, what's going on
man.
there?
it's crazy. It is crazy. Like I looking at last season. I mean, they weren't up there like the other four were, but like you look at Ocon had a podium in Monaco. Like they are so far away from
I think that there's a couple sprint podiums as well.
yeah,
throughout the year.
they are so far away from anywhere at the moment. And from for a factory team to be last on the grid, last and second last. Obviously, Bottas had his problems and Sargent had their problems as well. So we'll call them, they were 17th, 18th, but is unbelievable to be a factory team. I mean...
That's not looking good for him, eh?
No. I mean, when's the last time a factory team's finished last in the constructors? Like, it's always a privateer team.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
it's going to be interesting to see if they can turn it around. We saw it last year with McLaren turning around their season. So Really interesting. There's a weird dynamic in that team.
Yeah.
And there always has been.
Doesn't seem right.
Doesn't
No,
seem
not
right.
at all.
Two French drivers, French team. They hate each other, those two, by the way.
The drivers.
They don't.
They look
get
like they're
along.
happy, friendly and everything, but they do not like each other.
Well, that's not going to help when you're trying to develop a car either.
And they'll be withholding with information and stuff. Like, just doesn't work. As we always touched on, you touched on this a couple of weeks ago, having a young gun with an experienced or that combination always seems to work.
Yeah.
But having two similar age guys at the same, fellow countrymen, it just doesn't work. So
You would think fellow countrymen would work.
not the French part. Not the French.
They don't like each other, do
Not
they?
the French. I don't like anyone.
Nah.
But they're like there's a lot of history with those two. They grew up together. They're both from Normandy. They live 20 minutes from each other. Their families know each other.
Yeah.
They raced in karting. And the famous story is that Ocon was this young gun. I think he's a year older, and he was winning everything. And then Gasly came up and then started beating him, and then they just
That
weren't
was
friends
it.
anymore.
Yeah.
So to be such a similar upbringing, similar family, but yeah, I mean it's like Rosberg and Hamilton.
I was going to say they
Yeah.
were best mates, got to F1 and teammates, and started.
But I think you have to be like that.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I would if I was in this situation. I mean,
Come on, Chich.
Well, so
You
it's
wouldn't
always-
get rid of me, would ya?
I don't know, Jim. I don't know. Like,
You
I'm
wouldn't get rid
pretty,
of me for a bloody 7 out of 10 in the bloody bar, I reckon.
I'm fucking competitive like that, but
Yeah.
like you are as well.
Yeah, I am.
We used to go cycling together, and like we didn't ever said it to each other, but fucking we were competitive
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah. It's always just trying to get away from each other.
Well, New Year's Eve proved a bit of a point.
Oh,
too,
yeah, I'm all playing football. Fuck. I did Achilles doing that. I was fucking to get massages. I was cooked.
Yeah, I haven't walked straight since. But,
But yeah,
because
it's
of
one
the
of
hammer.
those things. Hey, like you said, similar age. They're both striving for the same
Yeah.
thing. Like
They'll both be feeling the pressure now as well coming into
100%.
this year.
And you always want to beat your teammate first and foremost.
Yeah, that's right.
Like-
It's the age-old rule.
well, they said that in the coverage. Like, it's a very unusual sport, F1, because it's a team sport, but you're competing individually,
Yeah.
and then the only person you want to beat is your teammate.
And then you got team orders that let
Yeah.
them through.
That's crazy.
There's no other sport like motorsport,
But
Yeah.
their problems are diving deeper because I think they've just lost their technical director and head of aerodynamics as well.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
So
Well, I think their technical director resigned like after the race. Like, it was very
yeah,
recent.
it's only I think a day old or something.
Yeah, so
It's going to be, it's obviously a huge culture issue there, really.
Something's going on.
yeah, something's definitely going on.
So how's the end of the season going to play out for them? Like, is there any way they're going to scrape back, or do you reckon there's going to be losing ground the whole
I
way
personally
through?
think it's coming from the top. I don't think the head of Renault, who own Alpine, actually want to be in F1. And there's obviously a lack of income there somewhere. Like, how does a factory team, when the rules haven't changed, times, like Jeremy Clarkson said on the grid, the times haven't really changed. They've been, their lap times are about the same. How does someone go slower the next year? Money and infrastructure. That's all it is. And personnel. So obviously they've tried something, it hasn't worked. I don't know. Are they not doing enough? So
Yeah, they're not back in the project.
I don't know. I don't see how they can, like, look, if they improve, I mean, what are they going to finish? 11th and 12th? I mean, that doesn't work. So
Well, if they're a full factory team, they need to be up against Ferrari,
Exactly.
Mercedes,
Yeah, they need to be rubbing
everyone.
shoulders with them.
Yeah.
And how's Stroll going up to Alonso after he's going, oh, aren't you wrapped? You left Alpine. That was pretty
true.
good.
That was funny. That was really funny. I actually thought that was like an old clip, but it wasn't. It wasn't actually a new clip. So
Yeah, it was.
And I think Alonso replied, "Aren't you happy being on the grid or something?" But I don't know. It was I heard grid, and then someone said, "Like, did he say you're lucky to be on the grid or something? You're lucky you're not with
But
Alpine."
that's probably something he'd say.
Yeah,
Is Alpine racing in anything else in hybrid stuff like 24-hour endurance?
yeah. I think they've got a team in the 24-hour Le Mans, the
okay,
World
there you
Endurance Championship.
Actually, just on that, Rossi 4th in his first
Yeah,
official.
how good's that?
Yeah.
So does that mean he's racing
Yep.
the 24-hour Le Mans this year? Oh, how good's that?
I've
Yep.
seen a video and it was going through all the former F1 drivers. It's a pretty stacked
Massive,
field.
man.
Like, there's a
Massive.
lot of ex-F1 drivers and a lot of good ex-F1 drivers in
Almost all of them are done. I think Brundle's done it. Weber's done it. Fisichella's done it. Is Alonso done the Le Mans 24-hour?
Yeah, he won,
Yeah,
remember?
Did he?
He won
I
it.
can't remember.
Because remember, he does the multiple sport. He was trying to go do the triple
there. Triple
crown.
Crown, yeah.
Well, then when he did Indy as well. Fuck, there you go.
I just got to answer your question about the 24-hour Le Mans and Alpine. I'm sure they had a team in it.
Yeah, I don't remember him. That's all.
Geez, you know what's crazy, Jim and Daniel? 24 Le Mans is 3 months away.
Yeah, it's exciting. We're gonna have to do something for
Yeah,
that.
100%.
That's
So
a
you're
mid-race.
full into this endurance thing now.
Yeah, oh yeah, especially motorcycle endurance. Fuck. Nicola Canepa and fucking David Checker, what are you doing? I want them on the pod. I'll pick their brains for 4 hours. I'll bore the listeners before they get off.
Get Damo back on.
Yeah, get Damo back on.
Well, it would be interesting to go and speaking to some of these guys because that little bit of information that Damien Cullen, for the people listening at home, we interviewed him about 6 months ago, and he talked about his endurance riding in he raced in the 24-hour Le Mans. Like, it was just one of these crazy things where, you know, he was only allowed to sleep for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And
then we had our other guest, which I won't name, speak about it as well. And it was, man, so interesting. Oh, he got me hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, so Alpine had 2 entries in the hypercar category this year. All French. No, they actually had Mick Schumacher actually raced for him, believe it or not. So they finished, I think, 8th or 9th. So actually, they're not a bad going. So yeah, they're in other categories.
Yeah, there you go.
But they have to be a French team. I mean, like
In Le Mans,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
It's
right.
like even in the endurance superbike, so a lot of it's French. It's like it's just such a part of the racing pedigree in the France is endurance. But like the endurance racing for cars and bikes is incredible. Just how the motors last. Did you see? I watched an interview on a guy who his team won the Le Mans 24 hour. I can't remember what it is. And the whole thing about winning the Le Mans 24 hours is not to wash the car. And they were taking it to the museum and they gave it to some lackey and he fucking washed it and made it all clean, took off all the rubber, all the mud, everything, and it was pristine. And everyone was like, fuck, like, you know, it's like having your trophy, you know, it's like having that's like your trophy.
It's like having a jersey that you've played in and you go wash it.
Yeah, exactly. And you've just won the grand final or something.
Going back quickly to 24-hour Le Mans, do you remember those years, and I'm sure the listeners at home are the same thing, where there was like 6 cars in that LMP1 or hypercar category?
It wasn't like Audi, Peugeot, and that was it?
That was it. Bro, this year, there's 2 Cadillacs, 3 Porsches, 2 Toyotas, a BMW, a Lamborghini, the Alpine team, 4 Ferraris, and
Fuck, yeah.
Peugeot.
That's the LMP1 category.
Yeah, they call it hypercar now.
Yeah.
So the cars look closer to a real road car than that crazy LMP1 looking car.
Yeah.
And they've still got obviously the LMP. They call it. Yeah.
Still LMP1, LMP2 still, is it?
Yeah, they call it hypercar. 23 entries this year, which is crazy. And then there's
But what's the one underneath hypercar?
LMP2.
LMP2
Yeah.
still, yeah.
So super excited about that. Sorry, back to F1s. Yeah, so coming up to Saudi Arabia, it's always a different track as well. So that is got to be the craziest track, I reckon. One of the craziest circuits in the world. Those blind, you know, flat corners, all concrete barriers. We obviously see Max doing his thing again.
Yeah. I think that's just going to be a part of it, really. Like, he's just taken off where he left off. I think last year at where they raced Bahrain, he won by 12 seconds, and now it's 22 seconds. So
Yeah.
I think it's just, again, it's just me a fight for second place, and then hopefully each different round is just going to be a different person who comes in second place, or at least just bridge the gap to Max, because he's obviously going to have an off day still. Like, he's still obviously human, but I don't know. I just don't see it in somewhere like Saudi Arabia or Bahrain or one of those tracks. I feel like it's going to be more like Monaco or
It'll be a streeter.
Yeah.
It's really interesting this year because aero is obviously so important, and I find that Bahrain's pretty stop and starty, 3 long straights. There's only probably 2 corners that's really shows the high speed corners, where Saudi Arabia is a totally different, you know, kettle of fish. Obviously it has those massive long straights, but a lot of aero involved. So I think that they'll throw up a little bit of different result this week. I'm not saying that Max is not going to win, but it'd be interesting to see if Ferrari or Mercedes or even your McLarens have an upper hand on that aero part. Because interesting is you see that Red Bull, they've gone for those 0 side pod designs, which obviously famously
Mercedes couldn't get
tried
right.
and failed miserably. The cars look so different with their side pods. You can see all the air flowing through. They've obviously got less air going into the engine. They've got those 2 little air intakes up here. So Adrian Newey, just a master. Another master stroke.
Yeah, absolutely. He knows what to do. That's
But
for
good
sure.
on Red Bull, man. They came out, they absolutely dominated a world championship, pretty much redesigned the car.
Yeah.
And they're still winning. Like it's not just like,
Yeah, they're not just resting on it.
Yeah, and I mean the same thing with Ducati in MotoGP. Obviously, there's less that goes into it. I mean, they've obviously changed the bike this year, and it's going to be seems like it's going to be a faster bike again. But good on them for showing that innovation.
Well, yeah, you got to move the goalposts.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this week. It's going to be really interesting.
I think McLaren will probably be a bit more of a surprise this week as well.
Yeah, well, Norris and Piastri's obviously improved from last year, and he had a good race for second year.
And he's looking after his tyres a lot better. I noticed that was the biggest thing I took away from his race.
Same. And that's what obviously the commentators noticed at the same time.
Yeah, it was a funny one for me. I thought Alonso looked a bit disinterested at the start, like not defending his position. I think he went for that one-stop strategy and just ended up pitting in the end.
Work.
But it didn't look like the Alonso of old. So, again, time will tell throughout the season, and we'll see what happens.
It'll be good to see him back fighting up against, the best of the best. It's always a good show when he's there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Old dog, the old wily dog.
And there's so much speculation around him, and you can pretty much put anyone's name up for that seat as well, for that Mercedes seat.
Yeah, well, it's interesting F2 results.
I saw that.
The Prima doesn't look like they've obviously changed all the cars for 24 and F2. So we spoke about Kimi Antonelli last week, and if he comes out and he dominates, and the car just doesn't seem up to it. So we'll have to wait till sort of mid-season to see what he can do. But I think they qualified 15th and 16th and finished around the same spot, him and his teammate. So
tough day.
Disappointing. I mean, I thought that F2 category was pretty much, they just raced the cars that were given to them, and
that's what you want,
and that was it. But obviously, there's a bit more going into them this year, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. There needs to be some excitement, young talent coming through that system, because we just haven't had it the last few years.
It's been a bit dry, hasn't it?
Yeah,
there hasn't been much coming through.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed, has it?
We got to remember, Max didn't even race in F2.
No, skipped it completely.
He went straight from F3 to F for Formula One.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
So there hasn't really been that young gun. Russell and Leclerc's probably the two that come to mind that I can think of that have really come through and shine in F1, but there really hasn't been anyone in the last couple of years.
And it's just so hard to, obviously get into that, as we spoke about a couple of weeks ago of Danby, or last week, trying to trust a young gun to get into your factory team. It's almost near impossible. What was it? Verstappen lasted half a season, Tom, and then he went into the Red Bull. But like trying to put just like a brand new rookie into a McLaren, not McLaren, but a Red Bull or Mercedes, like it's a high risk.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, if that Antonelli comes out and shows us some amazing talent throughout the year, I would just put him straight into the Mercedes. What have they got to lose?
That's right, and it's a one-off year anyway.
Yeah. So what have they got to lose? He can go into Williams, and he'll probably beat Sargent, because Albon would have been fed up by then, and they won't achieve anything. So at the end of the day, a Williams is probably 8/10 slower a lap than a Mercedes. It's not going to be. They're not different cars or anything like that. So same engine and everything. Obviously a few similarities. So.
Is it an underwhelming start for the Toro Rosso boys though?
Yeah,
RB Racing.
That would be my disappointment of the weekend. I think
there was so much hype behind him, eh?
Yeah,
especially after Danny Rick, he topped FP1.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
False Dawn.
He did. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a bit of it doesn't really show the result. He had obviously the soft tyres on in FP1, but still had to put the lap in. But yeah, that was probably my disappointment of the weekend. Another disappointment, obviously, the Alpines. But I think we all expected that. But I mean, look, you look at even Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg smashed his front wing in the first lap, came in, had a pit stop, and still finished ahead of the Alpines. So not to harp on it or anything, but it's disgraceful.
That's saying something.
And then Magnussen finishing higher than the RBs was another thing as well. So obviously Hulkenberg had a great qualifying going into Q3, but there's always an issue with the race pace of that car because they just can't keep their tyres.
We've seen that week in, week out last year.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be a wild season, but hopefully it just throws up a few different results. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the race as well, it was interesting. Leclerc, I mean, he just
Just struggled.
Yeah.
Well, just the brakes. I think he had an issue with the brakes. Like they were saying that he had, really hot front right brake and then a cold back left brake, and like they just hadn't had it right. I've never seen someone lock up so much.
They mentioned as well over the commentary when you're too close to the car in front, when your front wing's stuck behind their car, it causes it.
Get the aero
which was
wash.
interesting.
But he was on the radio the whole way. He's just like, I can't brake. I can't.
Yeah.
I cannot brake because that I think it's turn 8 where they're turning and braking at the same time.
That left-hander.
Yeah. It's one of the hardest braking areas on the calendar. And I even like going back to my playing the F1 on the PlayStation days.
6-time world champion.
Professionally. It is one of the hardest tracks, hardest corners on the calendar to get right. You never feel like you're going fast enough.
Yeah.
One of those corners. You go, oh, I've got more, but you just got to be patient. So
yeah, it's got to ease into it. But was it one of those things too, like he couldn't just hook it up out of the corners. It was just sliding everywhere. So yeah,
tires
few dramas.
Tires are a massive thing this year. They will be. Tires are going to be huge.
I guess that's always a big thing in the first round of and in really any motorsport. You always see sometimes weird or wacky results, or because you always, as a motorsport, there's still teething problems with either your engine or your brakes or electronics or aero, whatever it
Or
is.
even the track itself.
Or the track itself, that's right.
We witnessed it at Supers.
Yeah.
Surface, like you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it plays a massive part.
100%.
So, coming into, like, they would have learnt so much just over that weekend on all their cars going into now Saudi Arabia. So, who knows?
We'll see if Mercedes can work out their cooling issues, because obviously that hampered them throughout the race. And as I said, I really see them being quite strong this year. I've said that from the start. So I just don't see how they can have 2 shit years in a row. That's all.
It always seems like with Formula One, though, like they end up just dropping off after a while. Like there's always one dominant team that will come in, and then they might be second or third in the constructors.
Well, you look at
can't be on top forever.
You look at Red Bull since 2010, 15 years, 14 years. They've always been there or thereabouts.
They were just
they were the second best team in the hybrid era. They've always, and then it's just the rule change happens, and then
it's just a rule change, and then whoever capitalizes on that.
Yeah, that's it. Whoever makes the most of it.
The reason why Mercedes dominated all those years was not the car; it was actually the engine. When that hybrid era came in, they just had the best engine. They had 150 horsepower better than everyone else, and then that makes the car obviously faster down the straights, but then easier to design around as well. Where the other cars have less powered engines, so then you have to have less drag, so less downforce. It all goes hand in hand. So
that's right. There's more they're thinking about to get it to where it needs to be.
So, I mean, obviously, by the end, they had an amazing car. And then, boom, Red Bull come up with something amazing when they changed the rules. So, but going back to what you were saying at the start, James, about there's always a domination of a car, which is true. I mean, there's only probably in the last 20 years of the history of F1, there's probably only been 3 seasons that have had a real battle. And you'd probably say you looked at 07, 08, and then 2021.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 2021, we were just treated with the most amazing season ever.
Yeah.
And then all these Drive to Survive fans have been hooked by the sport. They've gone, oh my fucking God, this is what F1 is like.
And
they watch it and they go, oh, hang on, this is same result over and over and over again. This is normal Formula One.
How do you guys predict F1 will be, just say, in the next 2 years? Because the rules aren't changed. It's this year and next year, still the rules are the same. Just say, it looks like, let's be realistic, it looks like Verstappen's going to dominate this year, and he's probably going to dominate next year. How do you think fans are going to take to that, especially like those Drive to Survive fans where, as you said, Tom, they think it's going to be like a Hamilton Verstappen showdown? Like, is it going to deter people?
I think it'll start dying off. I think those fans will start dropping off. They'll probably still watch Drive to Survive and follow a driver for their personality and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think you'll find the viewership as high.
I think the viewership will go lower, but I think they'll still get the crowds to the event because people want to be there, they want to see them, and they want to be a part of it. I like, you looked at the tickets for this year. I mean, obviously Max absolutely dominated last year, and they still sold out within that, and the most popular event in Melbourne.
It would take a few years, I guess, to take the shine off it.
How many people are going to you? Oh, F1's in 2 weeks. fucking 10 years ago, no one fucking cared.
Yeah, no one knew what it
said
was.
that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you go to the F1. Oh, is that on this weekend?
Yeah, it's all right.
Bro, people are telling me who not even likes motorsport. Oh, F1's in 2 weeks. Have you seen the track? It's getting changed. I see the grandstands are up. I'm like, fuck, I didn't know you watched it. Just see me strolling through work today. Everyone's going, oh, did you watch the race? Did you watch the race? So, yeah, the people who were going to the events probably aren't watching it every weekend anyway. Where you looked at your MotoGP fans, to a certain extent, probably more in Europe, those people are watching it every week. Not in Australian MotoGP though. I think there's still I don't think the Aussie battler with his fucking tin chair and his 6 tinnies in the campsite watches MotoGP every week.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
it might change this year. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think it's going to be just as big because maybe the culture's changed. Where it seems like the culture's changed of sport, where you can watch these series and now really get invested into someone like in golf or tennis or NASCAR, where they don't really care. They just want to see they just want to see a personality, whether that be, you know, a team boss shouting at someone or a driver doing whatever it is. So,
Every sport has changed massively since COVID. Live events, live sport, it's changed massively.
It almost seems like the results don't matter as much anymore.
People want to just go out.
That's a great point, actually.
Yeah, people just want to go out and see something and do something. I mean, it's incredible.
People, and I might contradict myself here, but people are complaining about Verstappen winning, but it still just doesn't seem like the results matter that much. Like people still just want to see what face fucking Lando Norris pulls or something like that. Like 100%. That's literally what they want.
I'll give you some facts going into Australian Grand Prix. Mecca, who is the big makeup company, they have pulled all their stores, all their sponsorship from the Spring Racing Carnival, which used to be their biggest thing, and they have put it all into a massive stand at the F1s this year.
Oh wow,
there you go.
Smart.
Again, it's more of a fashion show than a motor race now. Like it's about going there, looking good, dressing up, going in that center thing, drinking. Like it's an event.
Get the boomerang for the Instagram story.
Yeah.
One of you guys said that actually. I reckon it might have been you, Dan. You said it's the new races. F1 is the new. It's the new spring carnival. Yeah. It's the new races.
I don't think so, but I'll take it.
Yeah, come on. It was all you, Chich.
Yeah, I think I said that.
Just on that though, I was about to say, like, you're seeing these guys at bigger events as well, where you would normally see, say, movie stars and actors and all that. You're getting all these guys rubbing shoulders with them. So,
did you see I don't know if you watched the paddock walk with Brundle, like. He's talking to Patrice Evra, who's a soccer player. He goes, oh, hang on a second. He hugs fucking Neymar.
Yeah.
And then he's talking to Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah.
And this is in Bahrain, bro. This is not in Silverstone or in Spain or something.
That's what I mean. Everything's just joined now, and especially with the rise of social media itself. Like, you can just market yourself and put yourself out there a lot more.
I wonder if we'll see Ronaldo this week in Saudi Arabia, because doesn't he play soccer there?
1,000,000% he'll be there, surely.
Yeah.
Because I think he's big into... Well... I mean, when you got that kind of money,
now I interrupted you before. You continue what you were saying. Sorry.
I'm just saying, like with the rise of social media and Drive to Survive, their platforms are huge, and like we've always touched on, like they're following a person and mixing it with everyone else in different walks of life, whether it's acting or music or whatever. They're getting seen a lot more. You see them on YouTube on like GQ, what's in my bag, and or like 10 things I can't travel without. Like all the F1 drivers have done one. Like they're everywhere.
Yeah, the F1 drivers now are just like the new biggest celebrities going.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like it actually seems like you can be a Lando Norris and never win a world title. Let's just say he never wins one, but I feel like in 50 years' time, people would know him more than a world champion, just because of the era now he's driving in social media, the impact of that, just how popular it is. The series, who knows if the series is going to keep going in 10 years? Like, it could just be a phase for a decade. I actually probably think that's what it's going to be. And then we'll move on to something else.
Yeah, look, I started watching this season, and it is just getting a little bit repetitive, I should say. And predictable.
Yeah, I haven't watched the past two.
Yeah, it's like they're cheering something, and they're cheering something at like a different racetrack than what's actually there. Like it's all been clipped in, and I hate that. It's like watching
what it
reality
is?
TV.
You know what it is? I'm kind of like that with MotoGP. I almost can't watch something when I know the results.
Yeah, right.
Like
if
I already know that Verstappen's won like the series, or if they've done one on Pecco Bagnaia, like I don't care as
You don't
much
wanna- yeah.
because I'm as a MotoGP fan, you're results driven.
Bro, when we were growing up, and you might have been a bit young for this, Dan, but I used to watch footy on the replay because they didn't play it in Melbourne.
Yeah.
They didn't play live footy in Melbourne when we were growing up.
Yeah, it'll be on like a 2-hour replay, 2-hour delay or something.
So you
like
you went in and watched it. Like that was when I was
Yeah.
little kids.
so
And
they'll play like a 1 p.m. game at 3 or 4 p.m. So
Yeah,
you couldn't
okay.
turn on the radio because the radio would be live.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's crazy.
And then I used to watch it like it just didn't matter. And then I grew up, and everyone did. Like, oh man, watch it,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And then you grow up and you go, no, we need everything now.
Yeah.
Like our fucking phones are here. Me waking up on Sunday morning going, I can't go on my Facebook because I need to watch the race. You know, like it's just so accessible now.
And
So-
that's why the Drive to Survive so big, because people care more about the inner sanctum, I guess, which
Yeah.
we have no one seen ever,
no.
you know, and that's why it's so
And that-
popular.
yeah, that's why it's skyrocketed.
Yeah, you know, and MotoGP's done a similar thing, but like I don't know. Once I know the results, it's like,
Bro, Netflix just do it right. Though.
they do. But wasn't there like scenes as we were just talking about before, like you know, they clipped to something and it wasn't even an F1 car, it was like an F2 car or something like that for a
Yeah.
split second. It's so funny.
But the bod punter watching it who's not a massive fan wouldn't. know the
Yeah,
difference.
they're not gonna know the difference.
Exactly right. And people would just follow like I'm starting to watch that NASCAR one, and it's really, really good because I don't know anything about NASCAR, so it's so interesting.
It's a great point. I don't know. I didn't know anything, and that championship result bullshit that NASCAR have. I don't know if you know. They like the top 8 of the year, then go into like a battle of their own to win the championship.
Oh, okay.
So it's not about a point system or anything, and so anyone can win. And I'm like, this is the stupidest thing ever, and it's still the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah, it's so American.
but it's so American.
It's like why fix something that's not broken?
Yeah.
The world champion in NASCAR.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. And then put yourself into someone's shoes who's watching it for F1 and go, oh my fucking God, how good is
Yeah,
this?
especially 2021, as you said.
And you can tell always at the start of the year, I don't know if you guys noticed this on the commentary, but Brundle says all the simple things in the first race of the year. Oh, they're pitting because they have to change the tyres to the mandatory tyre. And then throughout the season, he doesn't do that
it
as much.
dies off.
It's interesting because there's new people watching it every year. So
That's right.
So you can see the appeal if you don't know it. Like it's like as NASCAR, same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it works good. You see their personalities. You see who's like the more abrasive driver, and then you see the guy that's been in there forever, and a new young hotshot, whatever it is. It works, but I guess if you've just been watching it forever, like I don't know.
You know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
you know,
Yeah.
you know.
That's it. MotoGP boys this weekend, race week.
Oh, I mean, you know what? I'm going to say this, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I think I'm more excited about the start of the MotoGP season than I was the start of F1 season.
Yeah,
now.
right. There you go. That's a big call coming from you.
Yeah.
I love watching F1. I love that 2-hour race because for MotoGP, it's just so quick for me because that 40-minute race. But we've got the Moto3 boys we can look forward to seeing. Obviously, we met a couple of young Aussie kids. Moto2 with Senna. And then the fucking race to the MotoGP World Championship. I mean, how much better can you get?
I can't wait. And it's as you said, you touched on we've got our Republica boys. We've got Jacob Woolstone, Joel Kelso, and Senagius. Like, it just adds another dimension to it now.
Unofficially, officially sponsored.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna post out. We're gonna post out on Thursday night. Wishing all the boys luck.
Yeah, that's right. If you can chuck a Republica sticker on your bikes, that'll be great.
We should have slipped one on Phil's bike. Oh no, Dommy's. We were in Dommy's pit or Phil's pit on Superbikes.
Phil's.
Phil.
Sorry, yeah. Felt so long ago now.
I know, right? But it's gonna be so good. Under lights back at Qatar.
Man, the best.
The bikes look the best.
Yeah.
That looks so good
Yeah.
under lights.
Yeah, and you never really know. Like, you don't know who's gonna win. Like, I don't know.
Qatar's always a weird one.
Yeah.
I want you boys to have your tips now because I want to go over them.
All right.
All right.
For me, it's going to be Jorge Martin.
Oh,
Jorge Martin. Pecco Bagnaia second. And you know what? Marc Marquez third.
oh.
Yeah, I got a big hog on me.
I like it.
Daniel?
Pecco, Digi, and Mighty Mav.
DJ, fuck me. You're
That's
backing
not
him, aren't you?
I think Pecco first. Mighty Mav is normally pretty good at Qatar.
Third for Maverick.
Oh, I've not got him third. I just got those two on the podium.
Nah, I want a 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
Daniel.
1, 2, 3. Pecco, Mav, Digi.
Okay.
Digi won last year, didn't he?
Yes. Correct.
God, that seems like a long time ago. So
And that was at the end of the year he won it.
yeah,
I think he's coming off a good back end of the season. His testing looked pretty good. His numbers looked really, really good. I think he'll be riding a high. And he's got a lot to prove.
Maverick's a big call, Daniel.
Well, Mav's pretty good at... I was thinking about this and I'm like, he's pretty good at
If
Qatar.
Danby was here, he would be having an aneurysm.
Who?
Danby.
What does he know? There's a reason why he's not here consistently. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Mark.
I'm gonna go Marquez to win
Oh my! On debut.
on debut.
Even I didn't say that.
I know. I'm gonna go Martin second, and then Digia third.
Yeah, I like it.
Fucking hell.
Can we? So Marquez to just come out firing on the 2023 spec bike. 2024 spec.
So you don't have Pecco on the podium?
Nah.
Or Martin.
Martin Pecco's not good at guitar. He's never been that good there.
Yeah, but he's still a fucking 2-time world champion.
No.
Ducati track.
It is
You know
a
what?
Ducati
And
track.
my surprise of the weekend is like Bastianini finished 4th or something, just to throw it in there. I reckon he'll have a good weekend.
It was funny. I was tossing him up in my podium, but I was like you got credit where it's due, Matt. Like Maverick, I keep saying it. He's normally really good at that track, and I just couldn't look past him. It was just something.
What are you thinking if he just bogs his start again? Just goes from
see you later.
fifth
Kick
to
him.
5th to 15th.
Kick him off. He may as well hold the clutch in and rev the shit out of the bike like he did the Yamaha.
Yeah. Where do you boys think Acosta's going to finish first round?
Like 11th or 12th.
Yeah, I was going to say between 10 and 14,
Yeah, okay, I was similar. I was going to say 10th.
especially at that track. Like, it's a quick track. You got a
Yeah.
lot of quick guys on that Ducati.
Dan, what were your tips again for the people at home?
Pecco, Mav, and Digia.
Well,
And James, just to reiterate your tips as well.
mine was Martin, Pecco, Marquez.
I think Marquez isn't a bad shout for the sprint.
Mm.
I'll cop that in any position, 1, 2, 3, whatever. I think for the race, it might be a little bit more difficult for him.
That's a good point you make because he was not saying he was always up there in the sprints in the Honda, but he got a few podiums on that.
He did, and
on
I
that
think
pig of a bike.
I think people forget how quick he is over a short amount of laps or one lap. And like I said, credit where it's due. I think the sprint race format is suited to him,
Yeah,
probably more so than Martin
yeah.
and Binder. And I think on that bike, he'll do well.
I've got a feeling from a sneaky fourth, it would be Binder fourth.
I was thinking that.
Yeah,
I
he's such a Sunday man.
Yeah, but I have to agree with Tom. There's something about Anea Bastianini that's
He needs to do something.
lurking around, you know.
This is his year.
And
to
he
do
won
something.
back in 22 on the Grassini. No.
22?
Yeah, 22.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was that
Yeah.
famous,
yeah,
famous
yeah,
race.
yeah. Because he
was on the
Polar
Avintia.
Spargro.
Yeah,
That was
spawn.
Grassini.
Oh,
Avintia
yeah.
was the year before.
Yep, sorry.
Rule changes, any sprint race changes or anything happening this year? I think everything's staying pretty much
I
the
don't.
same.
Yeah, I think it's pretty.
Yeah, it's the same. I'm
pretty
pretty
stock
sure.
standard.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, we obviously went over this on our preview show, but, just nice to reiterate for the club.
Yeah, I can talk about MotoGP forever, so it doesn't matter.
I'm excited for the lower categories. I'm
Yeah.
actually really excited for Moto 2 this year.
Yeah.
So just to talk about Argentina finishing, I thought Hungary was going to be a backup circuit. So is Hungary going to be on the calendar this year or?
I don't know. Get it up.
Okay. Because that was just something that I was thinking about the other day because I remember there was going to be they had a backup in case of any cancellations
Yeah.
or.
Yeah, and I think the Kazakhstan circuit's on
Might
there.
be cancelled as well.
Yeah, I heard it might be cancelled again.
So we've got Qatar, then to Portugal, Argentina cancelled, Coda, Jerez, France, Catalonia, Mugello, Kazakhstan. I think you want to put an asterisk next to that.
Yeah.
Assen, Sachsenring, Silverstone, Austria. Aragon's back,
Yep.
which is good. I like that track.
Yeah,
I think
like
it's a
that
great track.
That's a mint track.
San Marino, India, Indonesia, Japan, Australia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Valencia.
Big fucking.
It's a big
That's huge, man.
21 21 races. I mean, it's a massive, massive season. God, it's a lot of racing this year. 24 F1 races, 21 There used to be 15 MotoGP races,
Yeah.
and like 14 F1 races. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So much action.
First PlayStation game only had about 5 tracks on it back in the day.
Yeah, I'm glad the new one let you do a half season. That's for sure. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, both seasons, GP I think will be a lot closer, but both Formula One and MotoGP should be really, really good.
Why
this
did
year.
Aragon go and then come back? Does anyone know?
Too many Spanish rounds.
Yeah, I think it was something to do with
yeah.
that.
But there's
They're still now going back to... It's MotoGP, bro. They think on the fly.
money under the table.
Yeah.
Four,
legit.
4 Spanish rounds.
Man, how good would it be just
Aragon
living in
is
Europe, bro?
is
It's
an
a ripper
unreal
track.
track.
It is.
Yeah, it's such a good track.
And
I didn't like it. Then
Same.
the last couple of years, I watched it go, this is a good track.
It's always good for Moto 3.
Marquez
Always a good Moto
Marquez
3
track
race.
as well. That back, that
Left-handers.
left-hander on the back of the circuit. Fuck, that's a sick corner.
How do you reckon Alex Marquez is going to go this year?
Have we spoken about him once?
No, we haven't.
I don't know, man. I think he might struggle.
I think he might do all right just because he's going to be with Mark. And I think Mark's going to like give him some secrets.
I think it'll be a good guide.
Yeah,
But
good guide,
I don't
yeah.
think he'll do some of the stuff that he did last year and have some good results like he did last year.
He was doing pretty good. He just made some fucking mistakes last year, Alex Marquez.
Yeah, just silly mistakes that he should have ironed out.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he needs to drink a thirst trap before the race.
Yeah.
Refresh himself.
They are fucking beautiful, aren't they?
They're really, really good.
Yeah, give himself a clear head, you know.
Get him on there.
That's all right.
But yeah, that's GP, isn't it, boys?
Yeah.
May as well touch on a bit of WSBK and talk about our week there as well. While we've got
Yeah,
a bit of
fuck
time.
yeah. Good weekend.
Great weekend. As you mentioned earlier, a few special guests that will be coming out soon.
Yeah.
ASBK Racing as well.
Yeah.
It's good to see a few of those boys.
Yeah, Mike Jones, Brian Starring, Troy Herfoss. It's good to catch up with them.
Yep.
Really good guys. Like, if you ever get to go down to ASBK race, it's
A
definitely
lot
worth
of them
it.
are, man.
Yeah.
Even like had a good chat with Crew Halliday. He was really, really nice. We all spoke to Arthur Sissis. He was a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I remember at the pub. What was really interesting and what I really enjoyed was the fact you can talk to these guys right after they've been on the track. Obviously, you're not going to go down their throats and go, "Oh, mate, how was the track? I'm free surfacing." But you can go, "Mate, how did the tyres feel? How did everything go?" Obviously, there's that such controversy with the Pirellis down there, and then the ASBK guys go testing and doing their whole weekend
On one tyre.
On one tyre, they've been told they couldn't race on that time, and that's crazy. If they did that in a premium sport like your F1 or MotoGP, there'd be an absolute uproar. But I mean, these guys just go there because they're so passionate, aren't they? So they're just going to go and do it.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's funny in SBK, you got big factory trucks, I guess, and then you got people just out of their trailers racing.
Oh, Kempsey.
Yeah, Kempy.
Kempy Racing.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah. He was 8 seconds a lap slower than everyone else, but we love it because he's passionate.
Yeah, that's right. He's just straight
That's
into
what
it.
it's all about.
Bro,
isn't
he
it?
had 2 bikes there, a wet setup, dry setup. I mean, it was cool, wasn't it? Imagine it
Yeah.
started raining, you came in, put the wets on, and everyone stayed out, pissed out. Imagine that, a fairy tale. Let's make a movie out of that. Kempy!
Smoking a dart after the race.
Yeah.
Well, at the after party, I'm not going to name names here, but there was a few maybe World Superbike riders smoking darts at the after party. So
good.
that's World Superbikes
Factory
for ya.
riders as well.
Factory riders smoking darts,
That's what
drinking
it's all
beers.
about,
That's
But
World Superbikes, but laid back.
It was pretty cool, partying pretty close to those guys and chatting with them and all that kind of jazz.
Andre Iannone was just like an arm length away from us. I was so scared though.
Bro, and we've been in MotoGP for how many years? We
Yeah.
did not know this happened.
Nah,
When you
we're
do
all
it right-
cooked by Sunday night. We're cooked.
We did shots with bloody Yari Montella, the bloody
Yeah.
doubled up on the
He
World
was-
Super
he
Sport. He
was-
was
he-
flying.
His godfather must have slipped him something because he couldn't look straight, that fella.
Big night.
But you know what's
Big
crazy?
night.
We were sitting there at 10 o'clock going, nah, there's nothing happening. What are we
Nothing.
doing here? And then boom, it just all happened at once. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Stitched Tom up, told him Alex Lowe's was going to buy him a beer. It was Sam Lowe's.
No, I think it was actually Alex Lowe's.
That was Sam.
Nah.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like everyone was in there. I was very starstruck.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was cool to see everyone though, just like let their hair down a bit.
Yeah, and it was cool to bump into a few listeners and viewers of the pod. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. It's always good when they say good day. Always
100%.
appreciate that.
100%.
Yeah, it's going to be a good season both ASBK and WSBK as well.
Yeah, that's it. And hopefully Phillip Island gets rubbered down enough. So MotoGP
it sounded
is
like
good.
they probably
By the end of it, they said it was getting a lot better.
Yeah, and they should have had a drifting day or something like they said.
They had cars on it, I think, this weekend.
Well, they got like a classic. They got the classics this weekend.
Yeah.
Which is actually a really cool event. I mean, not that I've ever trotted down there for it, but from all reports, they have a lot of old cars, a few old F1 cars and stuff like that as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, but no, it was a grouse weekend. So, yeah, appreciate everyone coming up and saying good day. That's what it's all about. Phillip Island's just the best, isn't it?
It's the best.
Very sleep deprived the whole weekend, though. I've never been so
very
tired in
much,
my
man.
life.
I'm still trying to catch
fault,
up
but-
on. Still trying to catch up on sleep.
Yeah.
So
Oh, no,
cool.
you're never going to catch up, Daniel.
Nah. Not at all.
We didn't do our tips for F1 this weekend either.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Tom?
Max for me to win. George Russell second. And Hamilton third.
Ooh, I'm going to go Max, Perez, Charles.
Charles did look good. If he didn't have his...
Yeah.
He would have finished second if he didn't have those issues with his brakes.
Yeah, Max, Charles, Hamilton.
Ooh.
Lando close. Lando close for third.
Let's hope so.
Chuck Lando on the podium. Come on. Chuck him on there.
Nah. Hamilton will claw it back. It'll be a good battle. It'll be a good battle.
Yeah, it's going to be a good race. I can feel
It'll
it
be
in
an
my
awesome
waters.
race.
All right. See you next week.
Beautiful. See you,
Thanks,
fellas.
boys.